每个理想都有实现的可能。4年来，小银科技以智慧金融助力1800万人逐梦前行。小银科技给理想前行的力量。
本节目由小银科技冠名播出。近年来，奢侈品巨头开云集团火力全开。2014年到2018年的业绩数据显示，这家旗下拥有 Gucci、圣罗兰等一系列知名品牌的奢侈品集团经营规模在持续增长。2018年，在核心品牌 Gucci 的带动下，开云集团2018年全年销售额同比大涨29.4%，营业利润同比大涨46.6%。它的主力品牌 Gucci 去年全年的销售额同比大涨36.9%，至82.85亿欧元，史上首次进入了80亿欧元俱乐部，严重威胁着 LVMH 旗下路易威登的头号奢侈品地位。开云集团一路狂飙的背后，到底有什么样的秘密武器？这个问题还是要去问开云集团的 CEO 弗朗索瓦·亨利·皮诺。
Speaking of the revenues, we see Caixin reports a very high double-digit increase last year, faster than almost other luxury groups. Can you tell us about what kind of the reason contribute to this success last year?
Well, first of all, as a group, it's true that we grew very fast last year, and then we have the opportunity to have inside our portfolio of brands, amazing brands like Gucci, Saint Laurent, Balenciaga, Bottega, McQueen, and other brands. And the main reason is that for the last 4 or 5 years, in all those different brands, we've decided to take a very strong creative risk, putting creativity as the core of a business as a priority, meaning that we think it's a commitment of a luxury brand to deliver a real and strong creativity to our customers. It's a risky bet, but it's been a winning bet for the group. And when you look at the amazing creativity that has been brought by Alessandro Michele for Gucci, Demna Gvasalia for Balenciaga, or Anthony Vaccarello for Saint Laurent, and those are being very relevant for the customers. So the main reason is really that vision of the modern luxury, which is based on creativity as a way of connecting with people, and particularly the young generations.
What's the most creativities for the luxury brand? The style, the design, or the deliver new way, or the business model?
No, it's really very much the environment in which you express the brand.
Okay.
The product is just one way of expressing the brand. It's not the only one, and that's part of the new vision. It's creativity is much wider than just the product. You have the product, you have the campaign, you have the digital world where you express the brands. You have your stores where you express the brand. Every point of expression is part of this creative environment, and this is the consistency of that environment over time that makes the relevancy of the brand in the eyes of our consumers. So it's really that ability of our creative director to bring that creative environment, very strong creative environment around the brands. And that's really the main point for us as to explain the success of our brands.
Okay. One question is from how to balance which some changes risk or the innovation. For example, when Phoebe left Celine and Hedi joined Celine, people think this brand totally changed. I think the same problem maybe every luxury brands need to face if they change their designers or the styles. Do you have some measure to keep this on the right track, not change the basic spirit of this brand?
Yeah, you know, the brand expression is made of, on one side, of if your brand has an heritage,
Okay.
it's part of the brand expression. The brand is bringing some icons, some symbols, and all this heritage. And on the other side, the creativity part is brought by the individual person that you put in charge of the creative design of the brand. So creativity comes from that person. What is very relevant and important to do when you change the artistic direction, to make sure that the creative profile of the brand and the creative profile of this individual fits together. And when it fits, there's no limit. Look, we completely changed the creative direction of Gucci in 2015 with the appointment of Alessandro. But it was immediately relevant because it was a very sincere fit between the Gucci brand and all these symbolic elements. So you shouldn't be afraid of changing because it happens. People cannot be relevant all the time, or they might want to do something else.
如今，对于大多数的奢侈品品牌来说，亚太市场，特别是中国市场，无疑是一块巨大的蛋糕。开云集团也不例外，它在亚太市场实现了飞速增长。2018年，开云集团在亚太地区的增幅高达34%，仅次于北美市场38%的增长，占到了总营收的32%。主力品牌 Gucci 在亚太市场的零售额增幅甚至超过了它在北美市场的增幅，其中35%的增长是来自于中国消费者。
Speaking of the revenues, we also see Caixin's revenue, especially in Asia-Pacific areas, accounts for 32%, which is second only to the North Americans. So, what does the Asian market mean to Caixin, especially in China?
Oh, that's the Asian part of the world is the main part of the world. Almost 50% of the total luxury business is made in Asia or by Asian customers. And the number one market in the world is China, and it's been years already about that. So, and it's continued to grow. So, it's very important for us to be relevant, to make sure that we do understand the culture of our different customers in Asia, that we do take into consideration how do they perceive the expression of our brands, making sure that we are relevant in their eyes. And to do that, we need to embrace those culture, to know those culture, to understand them, to understand the Chinese society, for example, the modern society, and to make sure that locally we have people that are capable to make sure that the brand expression is really relevant. So that's really this cultural diversity element that makes a global brand meaningful today.
Speaking of the growth, well, I think we have to mention Gucci. We think Gucci has a 35% growth come from China market last year. So from your perspective, what kind of the characteristic and the change did Chinese young consumer made in the past 10 years, let's say?
Well, it's very interesting because it's true that one of the components of the Chinese market is the young generation, the less than 35 years old that were already customers but are becoming more and more interesting, more and more committed to luxury brands. The reason being that they do really appreciate the creativity that we bring to them in terms of sincerity, in terms of authenticity of that. And the dialogue that has been created between Gucci, for instance, and those young customers, this is really the market, China, where this has been the more intense relationship. And you know, the Gucci creative expression is all about celebrating the differences that we have between each other and make them as a joyful component of being and living together. And that's very relevant to the young generation. And it's a true and deep belief of Alessandro Michele, the creator, and all the people inside Gucci. The culture of Gucci is all about that also. So this is why I'm talking about sincerity and authenticity. It's not marketing. We don't do marketing in luxury. Marketing means that you look at the market to try to understand what the market expects. Luxury world doesn't work like that. We are offer driven. The market will react to what you bring to them. So don't try to ask him. They don't know. You have to be creative to bring relevant things for them to follow you. And Gucci has been the best brand in the world in doing this, And the Chinese consumer, and particularly the young consumer in China, have been the most reactive customer to that interaction with the brands. And of course, the fact that they are massively digital is also very important, because the brand is now, as a majority component of its expression, is done online through different digital platforms.
What kind of the reason for the luxury brand to decide if they're going to go online or not?
Well, you know, today it's not an option to be online. If you don't do that, you won't exist globally. That's the new normal. E-commerce is just an element of that new environment. But what we think is that we are talking to the same customer, and he's the one deciding if he wants to buy online or if he wants to go to the store. What is important is that you have to be true to yourself, be relevant when you're online or you're in stores, making sure it's not two different perceptions. It has to be very consistent in the eyes of your customer, because it's a matter of sincerity. So that's it, we don't separate the two things. It's the same.
Also about new technologies. We know every industry talking about 5G and AI. Does those new technology affect luxury traditional industry?
They will, for sure.
Yeah.
So
for example?
To talk about our experience at Caixin, we have in place an innovation organization inside the group, at group level and inside the brands, where we do approach innovation through disruptive scenarios in different areas. When it comes to raw material, can we find solution in technology if we have a shortage of some raw material? Then we look at disruptive scenarios in terms of new business model. Do we see in other segments of the industry new business model that could be disruptive? Instead of being passive and looking at them, can we proactively bring them in the luxury segment and make them relevant for us? And the third way, it's when it comes to our internal processes, we do think that by using, in particular, artificial intelligence, we can much better use the time of our experts in the creative field, in the merchandising field, in the supply chain field, by using AI to crunch the data prior to what the expert is bringing in terms of value added. So we have already in place data scientists inside the group working on the supply chain issues using AI, on the CRM, on customer service. And we're also looking at new technologies when it comes to stores, to the retail operations, scanning, smart mirrors, all that type of new technologies.
在上世纪60年代，弗朗索瓦·亨利·皮诺的父亲弗朗索瓦·皮诺创立了开云集团的前身皮诺集团。一开始从事木材和建材销售，后来转向零售业。到了90年代末，集团转型，开始重点进军奢侈品领域。2005年，弗朗索瓦·亨利·皮诺接手集团管理之后，将其转型为全球高端奢侈品集团。去年以来，为了确立纯奢侈品集团的定位，开云精简非核心业务的动作还在不断进行。但扩张和盈利并不是弗朗索瓦·亨利·皮诺唯一的关注重点，他把目光投向了奢侈品行业的未来，怎么样才能够让奢侈品行业发展更具有可持续性？2015年，开云发布了业内首个环境损益表，以货币形式评估整个集团的生产活动对环境产生的一切影响。皮诺为开云设定的目标是在2025年之前将整个集团的环境影响降低到40%。开云采取的一系列可持续发展措施取得了不错的成果。年初在达沃斯论坛上公布的2019年全球可持续发展企业100强榜单中，开云排到了全球的第2名。
We know Caixin is kind of the family business, and every successor faces the same challenges if they need to keep the traditions or take some risk. So from 15 years experience, do you have any lessons you want to share with the Chinese success?
Well, you know, one rule is no risk, no reward. And when my father handed me the business in 2003, the family business, and I decided in 2005 to run the main company which became Caixin, my question was, what will I bring to this company through my chairmanship? The company was what it was in 2005. What will it be afterwards? So it's all about that, taking risks to transform for the better. And more importantly, and this is something that I have been brought up by my parents, every company, whatever the size, needs to have a purpose that goes beyond profit. Profit is just the consequence of different things. We need to have a purpose, and you have to make sure that everyone in the company understands the purpose of your company.
I'm wondering if this purpose has changed ever.
In the 80s and the 90s, the world was not global as it is today, and the only way an entrepreneur like my father was able to manage the risk was to do different businesses in a small geography, which was France or Western Europe. In 2003 and 2005, when I took over, the world was becoming global. And I had this vision that we could manage the risk, not by doing many businesses, but by doing one key businesses in different geographies. And this is why I decided to keep the smallest business that we had at the time, which was luxury, which was only 15% of the group in 2005, selling all the other part of the group and make that business the core business of the group, which became Caixin, the luxury business, and becoming global through all our brands. But the main purpose of the group by doing so is that, luxury is just the top of the triangle of this huge apparel and accessory industry, which is a very, very big industry worldwide. And the mission of luxury brands, as we do consider that at Caixin, we have a mission to bring to that industry the creativity component and the sustainability solutions. This is the commitment that every luxury brand should take if they really want to be luxury brands. And this is the very purpose of our company, it's that, so that we can infuse those into the industry.